Green egg.
Can I use these keys? Yes, perfect.
Okay, that'll work too. Okay, either way. Thank you.
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम Ram Rama Hare 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 Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. पांचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry that I'm late today. I completely underestimated the Miami traffic, and apologies for being late. But hopefully we'll make your time worthwhile here at ISKCON Miami this evening on Sunday, the 11th of February. We're going to talk about topics suggested by Shanta Maharaj, which is devotional service. And I beg for the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas here that I may say something that is of value. So this is what we're going to cover in today's class, just so that everybody knows what's coming. We're going to talk about the definitions of devotion and of service. We're going to explore how service is actually unavoidable for all of us. And then we're going to answer the question, who are we actually serving today? We're going to chant some shlokas together during this process together. We'll answer the question why we should serve Krishna specifically. What exactly is devotional service? We're going to talk about the stages of devotional service. We're going to talk about a big trap on the way, huge trap that traps most of us in it. Then we'll talk about the ideal state, which is to remain the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant continuously. And then we're going to, if there is time, we'll take questions. But I'll still be here. The next program after this is Prasadam. Is that it? Okay, so I'll still be here. So if we cannot answer your questions in the actual live class, then we can be here hopefully. Otherwise, we have lots of senior devotees to answer your questions here. Okay. So from the dictionary, if you look at the word devotion and if you look at the word service, a devotion is defined as ardent and often selfless affection and dedication as to a person or principle. Selfless dedication. Okay, this is very important. And service is work that is done for others as an occupation or business, the performance of work or duties for a superior or as a servant. This is what it means. So devotional service is a combination of these two words. So you can put that together. Ardent affection and dedication done for others and duties or work done for a superior. Okay, we'll talk about that. Actually, service is unavoidable. All of us are serving someone or the other. Right? We have such a long list of personalities that we are serving. Some we know personally, our own family members, friends, colleagues, business partners. We serve the taxman. All of you have paid your taxes for December already. We serve the government, we serve the police, we serve our society, we serve our community, we serve our country. And as if all of this service is not enough, a lot of us here, especially in the Western world, also serve many dogs and cats. Okay, so there is no one here, I can safely assume, that actually is not serving someone, right? However, even though we are serving so many other people, the fundamental understanding is that we are not actually serving so many people. We are serving our own senses. Why? When we serve our families, when we serve our government, when we serve the police, when we serve our customers, business partners, who are we actually serving? We're actually, I'll scratch your back so you can scratch mine, right? We are serving so we can avoid getting in trouble. Right? So we are really serving our senses. Why is this? This is a great question to ask. Why is this? Okay, the famous Rolling Stones song, I can't get no satisfaction, right? Why is it that we can't get any satisfaction? Even though we are serving so much, we're serving everybody, there's not a moment that passes that we are not serving someone or the other, and yet we get no satisfaction. It's a good question to ask. Okay, here are some reasons why we don't get some satisfaction. First, because we are serving our senses and not someone else, our senses can only take, they cannot give. No sense can give us anything, they can only take. They give us a sensation of some kind of pleasure, but they can only take and take and take. And every time you give them something, the next time they want something more. And that's how people get in trouble. They start with some kind of intoxication, and before they know it, they're in prison for taking meth or selling meth or something of that sort, right? Those we serve in the world around us actually cannot reciprocate perfectly. So everybody feels like they are always giving more than they are getting. Everybody feels that. Everybody feels like they are being cheated. Everybody feels like I'm serving so much and nobody's serving me enough. And we see that. And there's another thing that I want you to examine, which is actually serving the reflection is of no use. So if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and let's say you're making that face in the mirror look beautiful, then you could try to serve that mirror, by coloring it or whatever you want to do, shaving it maybe, putting some shaving foam on it, and it's not going to work. It's an absurd example, but I will explain why I'm saying this. Okay, we'll just explore this particular verse. That is actually one of Srila Prabhupada's very famous verses. He quotes the first two lines in I don't know how many classes he quotes these two lines. He says, Kamadinam katina katida parita upnishesas. Tesham jata maina karuna trapa nopashanti utsuchaitan atha yadupate sampratam labda buddhis tvam ayatah sharanam abhayam mam niyam shvatmadasya. So I've shown you pictures of shackles and so on there. That's because here's the translation of this verse. Okay, there's no limit to the unwanted orders of my lusty desires. Although I've rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up, O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty. Recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Please note that Srila Prabhupada's name is Abhay Charan Aravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prasad Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. So he was named after Krishna's fearless lotus feet by his parents. So, this verse I'm sure resonated with him. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22:16. If you haven't read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this one verse, if you don't have it, we have copies of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you don't have it, this one verse alone is worth getting the entire set. Please, if you don't have it, please get it and read it. Okay, we're going to chant some verses like I promised. Like it's not going to be just me. Okay, so in Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter, the last verse of the 5th chapter, Krishna says this verse, and we're going to say this verse together. Okay, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva Mam Shantim Richati. A person in full consciousness of me, please repeat. A person in full consciousness of me. We can read together, okay? 1, 2, 3. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries, from Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, verse number 29. Okay, there's another one. And we talked about the reflection. Here's the verse that specifically refers to the reflection. This verse is by Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. Now, Lord Nrsimhadev had appeared and he was extremely angry, having killed the demon Hiranyakashipu. And and after Hiranyakashipu was killed, all of his generals attacked him, all of his soldiers attacked Nrsimhadev. Nrsimhadev destroyed each and every single one of them as effortlessly as one can shred a bunch of flower petals with his flower petal-like fingernails. So that's very important to note. To Krishna is not openly muscular and looking grotesque. Very beautiful, but at the same time very, very strong. So, and then everybody was afraid to go in front of Nrsimhadev because he was such in an angry mood. Lakshmi Devi, his eternal consort, was like, I don't recognize this person. Sometimes it so happens we don't recognize a person when they're in a different mood. This happened with Lakshmi Devi herself. Lord Brahma was not willing to go. Sri Indra, none of them wanted to go in front of Lord Nrsimhadev, and they pushed. Brahma said, "Look, this is a family matter. Nrsimhadev has appeared for you, so it's between you, father and son. He came to solve this matter, so you go in front of him." So then Prahlad Maharaj then prayed beautiful, wonderful prayers, which shows the depth of his humility and the depth of his realization as well. But this is one of his prayers, which are extremely liked by Lord Nrsimhadev. So we'll also chant this verse, okay? We'll chant half a verse at a time. So we'll break it in the middle and just go with that because we don't want to go into the word by word. We'll spend a lot of time chanting the verses. Are we ready? Okay. नैवात्मनः प्रभुरयं निजलाभपूर्णो मानं जनादविदुषः करुणो वृणीते यद्यज्जनो भगवते विदधीतमानम् तच्चात्मने प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुखश्री. Here's a translation which we can read together. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in Himself. Therefore, when something is offered to Him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. But for the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 9, 11. So many of our spiritual masters say, if it's your birthday, for example, we tend to, pamper ourselves. Instead of that, pamper Krishna on that day. Any special day, pamper Krishna. Valentine's Day, make Krishna your Valentine, right? That's really, really important. When we do that, we know, because we are not serving the reflection, because Krishna is the real deal, we know that Krishna is the real deal from this verse of Krishna himself. And he actually says that we are part and parcel of Krishna. He claims all of us. Each and every single one of us is a part and parcel of Krishna. Okay, we'll chant this verse also. Okay, some verses, important to chant the verses. Austerity of speech purifies our consciousness. So the more people who chant the verse together, the more powerful our experience of that verse is. Okay, Mamaivamsho Jivaloke Jivabhutaha Sanatanaha Manaha Shasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. Here's the translation which we can read together. Small one from Bhagavad Gita 15:7. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses which include the mind. Bhagavad Gita 15:7. So Krishna claims all of us. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We are tiny parts and parcels of Krishna. So the purpose of the tiny part, for example, purpose of this finger is to serve the whole. Right? The purpose of my toe is to serve the whole. When it doesn't, then it's deceased. So that's exactly what devotional service is. And here's a verse. What is devotional service? Here's the verse, the specific verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam that defines devotional service. Okay? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to, actually applies to all souls, can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So when you go to the dictionary definition of service or devotion, ardent and selfless, right? Even the dictionary actually defines what devotion is pretty accurately. They don't get a lot of things accurate, but they got this really well. And service should be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. We don't switch off as spirit souls, right? Just because we are wearing a human body, just because we are wearing the body of a girl or a woman or a man or a boy or whatever that might be, or a dog or a cat, though they cannot understand this, doesn't mean that we no longer are souls. We are always and always spirit souls, 100%. So therefore, whenever we are down or out or we are not in a good shape in one way, shape, or form, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, the only way is to render more devotional service. If I'm not feeling well, if I'm not feeling perfectly 100% always ecstatic, then that means that my devotional service has been interrupted, or my devotional service is somehow motivated, that I'm actually looking for something in return for it. Because Prahlad Maharaj in other prayers said, when Nrsimhadev Bhagwan asked him, beg for a blessing, ask me for a benediction. Prahlad said, look, my dear Lord, I already come from a demoniac family. That applies to all of us in the material world. You know, people, we are all already interested in material life and getting something out for our senses. Please don't tempt me like this. Besides, I'm not a merchant, he says. I'm not a vanik, not a merchant. I'm not doing this in order to get something from you. Right? So that is actually devotional service. So if we are not feeling that means either we are motivated or we have interrupted our service. And this is very important. Srila Prabhupada said that many times. Don't stop your devotional service no matter what. Don't stop chanting. Don't stop reading. Don't stop serving. Even if there are other problems that arise in the whole picture. Okay. So this is another verse, very famous verse. All of these verses that I am quoting here are actually worth memorizing. We memorize the verses not so we can slap someone with them, but so that we can take shelter of them when there are no books or no other devotees around us, so we can remember these verses ourselves. Okay, so this is a verse, Sri Prahlada Uvacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atmanivedanam, Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu, Bhaktischennava Kriyeta Bhagavatyadha Tanmanyedhitamuttamam. These are the means of devotional service, and this is what we do here at ISKCON Miami, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is what we do, and this is the definition of what we do right here in the temple. Okay, Prahlad Maharaj said, you can read together if you like, or you can read silently if you want. Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. These are means of devotional service that Prahlad Maharaj is defining. The devotional service is actually stairs to the spiritual world. You know, you can climb your stairs to go to your bedroom, or you can climb stairs to go to the spiritual world. Right? It's the analogy as simple as that. The spiritual world is a place where every step is a dance, every word is a song, where misery is conspicuous by its absence, where there is no birth, no death, nobody ever gets old, nobody ever feels any pain of any kind, nobody tries to take, everybody is only always trying to give. Have you been in that environment when a group of people are only trying to give to one another and actually nobody is interested in taking? It's such a wonderful atmosphere that is created by that kind of mood. That is what the spiritual world is. And anybody who doesn't is not in that mood cannot actually enter into the spiritual realm. Right? Anybody who is not in the mood of giving cannot actually. Okay, so there are some stages of devotional service. We can stop the chanting for now. You can chant along with me if you like, just because we're running short of time here. This is from the nectar of devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is a beautiful magnum opus of Srila Rupa Goswami, who is our Sampradaya Acharya. Srila Prabhupada translated it and commented it in a summarized form as the nectar of devotion, which is also available here. It is called Miami. He said, आदौ श्रद्धा तथा साधु संगो अथ भजन क्रिया ततो अनर्थ निवृत्ति स्यात् तथो निष्ठा रुचिस्तथा अथासक्तिस्ततो भावस्तथा प्रेमाभ्युदंचति साधकानाम अयम प्रेम्णः प्रादुर्भावे भवेत् क्रमः. Bhavet Krama means step by step. So he has mentioned different stages of devotional service, and these stages of devotional service are actually available to all of us. I will read this aloud. You can read along with me if you like. In the beginning, there must be faith. The reason why we are all here is because we have some kind of faith that these people might just know something, might just be on to something, right? And then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Pure devotees are those who are practicing the 9 processes of devotional service wholeheartedly. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally, there is an awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. If anybody is interested, we all are actually, having chosen to spend our Sunday evening here at ISKCON Miami. So we should actually follow this process. Also quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, verses 14 and 15. Now, I am giving these verses, but each of these verses are extremely deep, and there are devotees who have spoken for like 3 months on one verse. And all of this stuff is available to us as we develop an interest. It's very, very sweet and very, very interesting, but this is merely just an introduction to all of these beautiful subject matters. So the biggest trap, the biggest gotcha, the biggest problem that any of us might face in devotional service is actually at a certain point to consider ourselves more advanced than we actually are. Now, even in the material world, it is said that everyone has an inflated opinion about themselves. Like if you ask someone working in a company, right, and you ask them, okay, so you're making X amount of dollars. Is that good? He says, no, for the amount of work that I am doing, for the value that I bring to this company, they should be paying me double of what they're really paying me. And everyone feels like that. Everyone, right, from the CEO down to the janitor, everyone feels the exact same thing. It is no different, actually, because it's a feature of the material world to consider ourselves, the summum bonum of everything that exists. In fact, because we felt like we were number one, because we felt like we were good enough to actually be God, is the reason why we have arrived here in the material world. And you can see that on the streets of Miami, everywhere. You can see that everybody feels that they're number one. Srila Prabhupada said, even an ant thinks she's number one. Right? You can't even stop an ant from crawling around here and there. You put your finger in the way, the ant will try to go around, or maybe bite you, sting you, right? Because you happen to be in the way and she felt threatened. So every single step of devotional service, which is Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, every single step of devotional service has a bunch of rules and regulations associated with it, which we should really carefully follow. Srila Prabhupada has given us the whole system. So he had said, attend Mangalarti every morning, chant Hare Krishna minimum 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, take only Krishna Prasad. All of these process is given by Srila Prabhupada, which will actually take us, to the final destination. But we should never, ever give up or slacken on that process. Even the person who is actually advanced never slackens. Like Srila Prabhupada did not need to chant 16 rounds every day. He was in pure love of Godhead, but still he did that, a minimum of 16 rounds. Even Srila Prabhupada attended all the different ceremonies. Even Srila Prabhupada himself did not take anything that was not prasad. Srila Prabhupada himself followed all of these rules and regulations. What to speak of us? Whenever there is a problem where a devotee cannot succeed in continuing devotional service, the reason is always the same, which is they felt like they were ahead of where they actually were. A very big, famous, great sadhus have actually fallen from their position of devotional service just because of this one trap. Okay, so we have to really guard ourselves from this. Watch out for that. Okay, you know that moss that kills the trees here in Florida. That moss is a symptom. Like is reminded. One devotee named Advaita Chandra Prabhu in Gainesville was telling Vittal Bhakta, don't let those weeds choke your devotional creeper. That was such a beautiful thing. You see all of these trees with the moss hanging, and you see also the dead trees everywhere. So, in summary, I'm beginning to conclude now, right? In the material world, we want to be boss boss. Like we want to be the boss of the boss. Like we want to find out. We're very highly strategic. We want to say, who's the one who wields the most power here around here? And we go into a situation and we observe that, and then we want to become their boss. And that's what we want to do. Everybody wants to order. We call other people Prabhu, and then we say, Prabhu, come here, do this. Right? Because we want to really be their boss. And that's a challenge. We want to be the boss of all bosses. We want to be number one. And in the process, we remain miserable. We never actually taste any happiness. We never actually taste any ecstasy, even when we are inside our devotional service. But if you want to be happy, the happiest devotees you will find are the ones who are doing, the absolute basic services. They're the ones scrubbing the pots. They're the ones sweeping the temple floor. They're just in bliss because they are relishing that devotional service. Okay, so we must become dasanudas. And I will leave you with this one verse. Okay, this is a favorite verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself, Krishna himself. But even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. He said, Naham Vipro na Narapatir, Napi Vaishyo na Shudro. I am not part of the social order of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Naham Varni na Grahapatir, no Vanastho Yatirva. He said, I am not a brahmachari, I am not a grihastha, I am not a vanaprastha, I am not even a sannyasi. Then Srila Prabhupada says, he quotes, he paraphrases, then he says, what you are. He says, Kintu prodyan nikhila paramananda purnamratabdher gopi bhartu padakamalayo dasa dasa dasan dasaha. So this also is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, these verses. So these verses are worth stringing around our necks and wearing them as a garland because they're so sweet and they actually remind us who we are. We are just the servant of the servant, and that's very important. So I will now, he confirms that, Krishna says that himself. He says that one who is a devotee of my devotee is my devotee. A person who claims to be my devotee, nah, try next time. Right? Not my devotee. Right? Ye me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktashtite jana, mad bhaktanam ye bhaktas, te me bhakta tamamata. Right? Whoever is claiming to my direct devotees, want to be right next to me, trying to serve me directly, not my devotee. Krishna says. Krishna disowns them. Right? He says, but the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So this is from the Adi Purana, also quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita again. So what to do specifically? Okay, Srila Prabhupada has given us the process. Chant Hare Krishna. Can we chant Hare Krishna once? We have chanted already before in the beautiful kirtan that Prabhu was leading earlier. Okay, let's chant once together. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Check. You've got a green check mark, right? We've chanted Hare Krishna. Read Srila Prabhupada's book. We just read from Srila Prabhupada's book right here, right now, in the last half an hour. Okay, so we did that. Check. We got a green check mark. We'll shortly be served Krishna Prasad unless Krishna has taken all the offering and left nothing for us. We are going to do that. We need to dance in kirtan. Kirtan is meant for dancing. So don't be shy. Even if you're not a good dancer, just dance in kirtan. Move your body a little bit. That is really important. And serve Krishna. Even more importantly, serve Krishna's devotees. Somebody is doing something, our best bet is to go there and say, Prabhu, Mataji, how can I assist you? And they will tell us what to do. If somebody is cooking in the kitchen, you might say, I want to cook this and this and this dish. But really what they want is, maybe they want those 4 pots washed before so that they can complete their service. Maybe the devotee who is running around moving chairs or carpets just wants a hand, and they won't ask for it because they're too humble to ask for it. But all we need to do is, my dear devotee, how can I serve you? And that's an important attitude to have. Serve Krishna's devotee. If we actually have that attitude, if we actually do this, we will be happy. We'll be happy now while we are doing the service. We'll be happy afterwards. And because we'll retain that attitude, we'll always remain happy. Right? So this is super important. So we did all of this in this class, right? We looked at the dictionary definition of devotion and service. We saw that service is unavoidable. All of us are serving but dissatisfied because we are not serving somebody else. We are actually serving our own senses. And senses are terrible masters. They never will say, "Okay, that's enough. You've given me enough. You can go now." They will never say that. Any human might say that, but senses will never say that. We talked about what devotional service is. Right? It is service to Krishna, which is unmotivated and uninterrupted. We talked about the stages of devotional service, how we can climb up the ladder all the way to pure devotional service. We explored the biggest trap that there is. We saw that the best way of pursuing devotional service is to try to serve the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, and ad infinitum. We chanted lots of shlokas together, which is great because Krishna recommends that in the Bhagavad Gita. And then, if we still have time, do we have time? We will, if there are any questions, we'll take questions. Thank you. What is your name? Marina. Thank you very much for your question.
So, in this book, you say even our brothers are Christians devotees, and then in the previous slide, it said, the previous one, yeah. There's probably three slides, but I'll send the slide. It doesn't, you don't have to get those screen. Is there a difference really between, I mean, there is, but should there really be, should we really distinguish between who is a servant of Christian and who is not? In other words, should we just serve everyone?
That's a great point, and that's a very important point too. So the question from Marina is, should we even consider who is serving Krishna and who is not? Should we not just serve everybody? Okay, so that's an important point. And the Mahabhagavat, the person who is on the highest level of devotional service, thinks that except for themselves, everybody else is a devotee of Krishna. Except for me, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj would say, except for me, wretched person without any devotional service, everybody else is a servant. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj would offer obeisances to the dogs and the pigs, right, in the holy dham. Like that's their mood. Okay, and then there is a story of Yudhishthir and Duryodhan. Okay, they were told to go out there and they were given a mission each. Yudhishthir was given a mission to say, Yudhishthir, you go and find someone who is worse than yourself in any respect. Find someone who is less than yourself in any respect. And Duryodhan was given a mission, you go and find someone who is better than yourself in some respect. Okay? Both of them went out there and both of them came back empty-handed. Duryodhan could not find someone who was more than him in any respect, and Yudhishthir could not find anyone who was less than himself in any respect. So that's the difference between a person who is a non-devotee and a person who is a devotee. The stark difference between that. Okay, so, but the acharyas say that there are three stages of devotional service, three main stages of devotional service. A person can be a Kanishta Adhikari, but they only see Krishna, right? They see Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's beautiful, he's always smiling, playing a flute, and then they see themselves, but they don't see anybody else. They don't see the devotees, they don't see anybody else, right? And then there's a Paramahamsa that I told you about, who sees Krishna and he sees everybody as his servants except for himself or herself, right? And there's when a person practices devotional service, in order for our devotional service to be actually advancing us and not entangling us, we need to have four kinds of vision, right? So Madhyama, that's called Madhyama Adhikari. So we need to see the Lord himself. Okay, this is Krishna. Okay, we need to say Tad Adhineshu. We need to see his his servants, a person who is actually serving Krishna directly or indirectly, actually serving, practically doing something, not emotionally just thinking that everybody is a devotee, but actually seeing that this person actually, no, actually this person is doing something. They're rising early in the morning. They're making so much sacrifice for this person is a devotee for sure, right? And then there are people out there who actually are against Krishna, who are against God in all forms, right? They are Dvishatsu. They are enemies of Krishna. They are enemies of God. They want to be God. They are like Hiranyakashipu, right? We need to make sure and know that this person is envious of God. I better stay away from this person, because what will happen? They will either impact our own faith or they will stop us from doing our service. Like, for example, I distribute books on the streets, right, in various places. I have books right now. Also, I haven't distributed any today, but right. So, if I go out there and spend the rest of my 2 hour, let's say I have a 2 hour budget for distributing books, and I speak to an atheist who is constantly deriding God and constantly, insulting those who are worshiping God and so on and so forth, and I spend the rest of my 2 hour budget on that one soul, there's no impact, and I have come back dejected because I could not do any service, right? And then we need to look at the persons who are innocent. Okay, this person doesn't know anything about God, but is innocent. They are not inimical towards God. So we need to see those four, right? And the other aspect of this whole thing is we can serve everybody through Krishna or we can serve everybody through Maya. So what that means is, let's say people say, feed everybody. There are so many hungry people. Feed them, right? These people are people here are hungry. Why are you feeding them? Feed the people on the streets, right? They are all hungry. We are willing to do that. That's why we have Food for Life. We are distributing, millions and millions of plates of prasadam every single day, but around the world. But we are not distributing just any food. We're not giving a beggar $5 to buy whatever they like. Because what will they do? They might buy alcohol, they might buy a drug, they might buy tobacco, they might buy meat, which is going to put them in trouble because now they have to take the birth for as many animals they have killed in that burger. And I have become implicated in helping that person fulfill that, right? So we are not serving them through Maya, we are serving them through Krishna. So, especially when I'm in India, I carry packets of prasadam with me because there are really a lot of hungry people in India, a lot of beggars. You give them money, their overseer, their boss will take away that money and they will just get their daily wage, right? So, therefore, carry packets of prasadam, give them the prasadam, they can eat the prasadam and they have benefited. They have honored the prasadam, they have benefited from that, right? Does it make sense? So, we want to make sure that we don't put them in more trouble than they already are. Make sense, Marina? Okay. Okay. Do we have anything else? Question? Or comment, reflection, any challenge, any correction? Yes, we'll take your reflection unless somebody else has something else. In which case we'll take theirs first. Is that okay? Okay. Does anybody else have anything? Questions, comments? Okay, no, we can come back to you.
And also like showing you surrender the outcome of potentially distributing the book to them.
Yeah, but I could get 100 more. Yeah, thank you for the reflection. Yeah, that's true. We do have that, which is why when we chant Harinam outside on the street, we don't worry about who is an atheist and who is a theist or whatever. We just give Harinam to everybody. We give prasadam to everybody. We don't ask them, do you believe in God? Okay, now you can have this. No, we don't do that. We should give that to everybody. But when it comes to our time and our energy, Krishna is unlimited. We are not. Right? We have limited time, limited energy. We are only going to have the strength to go out there and do these things for that long. Like our spiritual masters, for example, they want to go out there, but they can't. They can't stand on the street, right? They can't carry those books with them, right? They can't hear what is being said on the street out there, right? So all of us are going to come to that level, that stage as well. Right? We won't be able to walk out. So we have to really figure out what is the best and highest use of my time right now and my energy right now. Okay? Do we have anything else? Vishal Bhakta, you're good? Okay. So, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
I just want to mention as we come to get payment, after the first proposal, we want to take y'all to the first opening and the next part of our program is Prashadam. I can show anyone how to make Prashadam.
Prashadam time. Hare Krishna.